for the month of September. So I got my notes to the side. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button early. I see 2 people already in here. September horoscopes. We got 2 eclipses coming. Lunar eclipse in Pisces, solar eclipse in Virgo. It's a new moon. I got some mini announcements as I get ready to talk about all the major transits here this trip. So you see here we have our September horoscope. This is going to be the shamanic portal, okay, for ancestral shadow work. Now the thing is, we have many things to talk about before I even get a little bit closer to the next steps, which they are already not allowing me to do. Oh man, they killing me with this stuff. Okay, great, I got it. So, next announcement, the early bird is over, but the alchemical circle of AI, we are taking in 5 shamans, mystics, oracles, okay? You see it right here, the alchemical circle of AI, and it's going to be beginning this fall equinox. I do have a Nourish Your Soul Ayurveda announcement. I'm giving $170 off of Ayurveda readings. Now, who's the person who wants this? If you want to take care of your health, you want to, learn how to actually eat food. What this was inspired by, I took a trip recently to visit my family, and I was visiting family in Texas, and I'm looking and I'm like, I see them trying to eat healthy. They're buying the strawberries, they're buying the grapes, right? Like they're eating the good foods, but even the healthy foods are being combined in ways that are actually creating diseases. And as a person who's studying exercise physiology, I'm looking at the disease and I'm like, man, I can help. Like I want to help, but this is the best way I know how. So I decided it's only going to be $99. It's $170 off for my Ayurveda readings. These are going to be what nourishes your soul, helps you to elevate your life. Next announcement before we get into the September horoscopes is to join our tribe. This is the Shaman's Roundtable. It is literally only $33 a month. I think that is a complete and absolute steal. All right, we have 8 members in here, so that means there's 12 possible more to join. And that's what it's looking like, ladies and gentlemen. So we get ready to talk about the September horoscopes, okay? Where you are going to enjoy a fruitful season. We're going to talk about the 2 eclipses. We're going to talk about Uranus going retrograde. We're going to talk about the Saturn retrograde. We're going to talk about generational curses going through a complete breakage because of Saturn and Aries stepping back into our karmic position of Pisces. And this is a sign where things come to a solution. They come to a finality. They attack the source element of what has been going wrong in your life, aka you not hitting that thumbs up. That's what's going wrong. Hit that thumbs up right now. Hit that thumbs up right now. So things that have gone wrong in your life where you're no longer able to just treat the symptom, whether that's through smoking some weed or drinking some drink or having some sex or, yelling at somebody that didn't deserve it or projecting your anger onto somebody else that is like, come on, this ain't working. All these things that are not working is a South Node in Virgo. I talked a lot about that in my Virgo video for the eclipse and my Pisces video for the eclipse. So today we're going to focus on some major transits on how can you support and nourish your soul. And I do remind you, one more second, that we have the Ayurveda readings. This is going to be discounted right now. $170 off. Literally is normally doing $69. It is $99 right now. September 20th, we are starting the Alchemical Circle of AI. This is people who are entrepreneurial mindset, want to go full time. And I'm going to talk to you about how I had my own mental collapse, my own mental break, quite frankly, as you hit that thumbs up and the likes button, that brought me to this new stage of creation and trust and faith in the process as a shaman. The financial difficulties that have occurred, how do I overcome that? What do the support systems look like? How do I end these generational and inherited faults and fears that didn't allow me to want to feel safe to create sacral chakra energy? So with that being said, this is your September shamanic portal for ancestral shadow work. We're going to talk about some of the shadow work as well at the end of this today. So let me pull up my notes. Let me see what I got going on here. As you hit the thumbs up and the likes button, I will appreciate that tremendously. Come on, notes. Where are you at, baby? I got so excited I just kind of stepped in here. Yo, come on, bro. Stop. with the glitching stuff. Okay, thank you. So hit the thumbs up, hit the likes button early. I do appreciate y'all. Like I said, we have these different services that you could check into. So let's talk about September and our horoscopes and what we really need during this timeline. So when I look at this, is this the latest information? That is not the latest information. Give me the latest information. Okay, here we go. This is the latest and greatest. So, got it. So this is a powerful month. September is a powerful month. We're stepping into the fall equinox. It's Virgo season officially, yes. And so when Virgo season, here's what we need to know and understand. It's a month unlike any other, okay? And what do I mean by that? What's so special about this Virgo season? Obviously not just the eclipses, but this is going to be a huge, major part of what's happening in September. Now, on my notes off to the side, here's the thing, right? I talk about my own life, this mental break, this mental collapse that I feel like I recently went through. I cried last night. I think I cried yesterday like 2 to 3 times. I almost felt like crying today. And here's what it really comes down to. You know, recently I sat down with my wife and I confessed to my fears. I confessed these things that I feel like I'm going through, these challenges, the strife, I took a trip abroad and then I come home and all my clothes got molded. I literally mean molded, like in the rain, stuck in the rain. And I feel literally, I'm not kidding, like 65 to 70% of the clothes that I own. And it was like, what was this mold representing? Like, I see molded bread in the streets and then a molded rag. And then I'm cooking yesterday and I crack an egg and the egg explodes and it literally smelled so foul like this. Imagine smelling a rotten egg that was so foul that lasted an hour after cleaning. And I'm just like, spiritually, I'm like, yo, what the heck is going on? And that mold was representing a lot of this Piscean energy that the full moon, the lunar eclipse, is closing things out, right? Like, but I'm in Aries, so guess what? This is my 12th house. So this is a 14-year cycle of Neptune in Aries, Neptune in Pisces. That is 14 years worth of, illusions that are dissolving, things that are not working, okay? My imagination not being put to use, the way in which I used to handle fears and deal with insecurities and deal with lacks and generational curses, all these things and the ways in which you're doing, I'm not dealing with them in the same way. And so it's like I didn't have my weak coping mechanisms that I used to rely on, and then choosing a path of choice and conscious resilience. But with that, it's like I'm not escaping in the ways that I'm comfortable, in the ways that I used to. And so, one of these things, I had to sit down with my wife and really confess my fears. And I told her, like, yo, look, like, I just used our rent money to go take a visit to my family. And I feel like I knew it up front. I didn't really miscalculate. I just was kind of hoping for the best. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, like, oh snap, like, I'm kind of in trouble now. Like, I had other business services that came. My Canva decided to renew at the same time, $120 there. Zoom wants to renew, $150 there. And I'm like, I'm using these things for my business, my members, to run the projects that I run as an entrepreneur. Rent came, like literally it seemed like I just got hit by a storm of things. And this is kind of Virgo South Node that we have to apply with the 2 eclipses. And we're going to talk more about all of these things. So, I was able to share with her through these fears, like, damn, like, I feel like I'm in a financial fragile state right now. And it's like, it's not comfortable, right? Like, I expected somewhere deep within my subconscious, like this collapse, this break, shame. But instead, what I received was grace. And it was a reminder that, like, yo, we're in this together. Like, sometimes I'm going to be up. Sometimes she's going to be down. Sometimes she's going to be up. Sometimes I'm going to be down. And I had to kind of like realize like this progression, because again, I'm coming from a South Node in Cancer in the 8th house, where it's like, when I went to go visit my family, I'm looking at how the dependence is playing out. I'm looking at these generational conditions, these cycles, and how they're playing out, and like, how where hyper independence is being played, and guilt tripping and shaming is stories and narratives. And I'm not taking none of this stuff personal. It's not really about them. It's about how it's impacting me and how it no longer is working, and how it affects my current life. So it's like, you know, as I continue the story, you know, we did the numbers, we looked at what we had, and we were like, yo, look, like, you know, I have like so much of a 3-month grace period when it comes to rent. And I'm like, oh snap, like, because this was really helpful, because again, as someone who has some of this Cancer energy trining, this release, this shift, this change happening during these eclipses, which for me is a very vulnerable discussion that, quite frankly, you know, I don't really want to have this with y'all being internet, but at the same time, I feel like there's nothing more powerful that I could do right now as a leader rather than to be raw and be vulnerable. That like, yo, like as an entrepreneur, I'm going through this living abroad. Like this is a real life situation. Like things are not always on the up and up. Like these collapses happen. And so I look at it, you know, the grace, I was met with the grace, I was met with the compassion, I was met with understanding, and realized like, yo, like, where was I really leaning on hyper independence? Like I've taken so much pride, you know, for 10 years or so, I've ran my own company, and I've never been in a situation, in a position where, you know, financially, I just didn't know what the heck was gonna happen next. I've never been in this place. I never had to lean on somebody in a way where, you know, it's very uncomfortable, and I had to really kind of look into what is really the deeper thing that I'm masking here. And some of these deeper narratives really came down to shame, like feeling bad, you know, to share, to eighth house matters, feeling bad, to be supported, you know, dealing with deeper subconscious traumas of, you know, leaning on somebody, being supported by another person in any way. Emotionally, psychologically, financially, like as a triple Aries, it's like, you know, I just normally figure these things out. And I got to the point, I'm like, yo, I don't have solutions. And so the irony was, it wasn't until I was able to actually speak up with my wife that solutions started to be created. As I held it close to my chest, you know, she would say something, and I would be like, okay, we gotta go buy, you know, we gotta buy a fridge, you know, we gotta buy a bed or a washing machine and this. And I'm just like, oh snap. Like me, just the thought of going to IKEA when I'm just worried about some of the basics right now, it's like triggering the hell out of me. I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like, how am I gonna do this? So when I look at this, you know, like I said, instead of, you know, the expectation of shame and just even having this moment of feeling like truly embarrassed, like if I'm being honest, like part of me felt like I was embarrassed. Part of me felt like a failure to even have to go through this, if I'm being real. I had to start looking at where are these, and again, like I said, I just recently visited my family coming home, and we just passed a lot of Cancer energy, Jupiter in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, and it's like, my past life is Cancer South Node in the 8th house, and I had to look at like, how did these entanglements from my past life try to hold me, right? In this current life, from my own abundance, from my own grace, from my own blessings. And so in that moment, you know, I was met with love. This is the reality. And you know, she just reminded me, you know, she had said something. She was like, you know, if I was in a situation, like, what would you do? And I never even got a chance to say it out loud, but in my head, I was like, I would take care of you. Like, I wouldn't even think twice. Like, I would just handle it. And it was just a reminder that, like, wow, like I have a partner that would do the same thing, that's willing to do what I'm willing to do. It's like finally meeting that grace that I've given out into the world. It's officially in a space where now it's no longer falling on deaf ears or I forget the word right now, but not irrevocable. One of these words, something unrequited, where it's not falling on an unrequited love situation scenario, which I've spent a lot of my relationship existence in this life in unrequited situations and scenarios. But it's like, wow, like all that good energy and effort that I put in, and even previous relationships, like, wow, it's like, oh my God, it's finally paying off. Like, wow, like I'm having to learn, if I'm being honest, how to be supported, how to realize that, you know, the true strength is in taking the moment to admit, like, yo, I need some help. Yo, I need some support. Yo, I've been in a state of freeze when it comes to creating, because my root chakra energies of basic needs and securities are not feeling safe enough to create and do what's next. So Again, like I said, for me, when I look at it, like that moment broke me up, and I realized right now that, I am no longer bounded by family patterns, okay, that I've inherited. It made me realize that I'm in the process of building a new legacy, right? Like it helped me realize that, I must learn to actually receive as much as I give. like like I can cry right now even thinking about it. Like I've given so much in my life, like, but it's like, from what cup am I giving? If in these moments I'm realizing that I have my own struggles to face when it comes to receiving what I'm truly worth, receiving the support that I'm worth. I don't even want to say deserve because there's no entitlement here. At least I hope not. But I want to say worth because it's like, yes, hell yeah, you're worth that. Hell yeah, you're worth that. So now when I look at this, I go forward, it reminds me like, and again, I'm going to get to the transits, so these will be timestamps. So thank you for bearing with me because I feel like for me, in a lot of ways, like it felt important to come on here and share a personal story and tie it together with what the transits are talking about because it's eclipse season and it's like, it's a time of mystery. It's a time of the unknown. It's a time where what comes next, I don't know. But what I do know is I've been met with grace. What I do know is that I am supported in ways that I've never even allowed, and it's exciting to actually open up to these new paths. I feel you. I'm going through the same emotions you're going through right now in my spirituality. Thank you for sharing that. Blessings, sending hope. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And I felt like it was important for me to come over here and share this because I feel like exactly what you said, Kaizen. I realized that somebody is going to benefit from hearing these ideas and these thoughts and these emotions that I've been experiencing and going through from the position that I am in feels the most important to share it from. And I felt like this was the true definition today of strength through vulnerability and rawness. And so I look at it, I have to understand, in my progress chart, I recently just moved from Cancer, Moon, and Jupiter, and etc. to Leo in the 8th house. And so yesterday when I had this emotional like breakdown and breakthrough, it was 29 degrees of Mercury in Leo. And today we're moving into September 2nd, which we're going to talk about Mercury in Virgo. So there's 29 degrees, right? Leo is one of the most emotional signs. I say this all the time. Leo is way more emotional than Cancer, okay? Because it's here to express, not depress. Cancer depresses more. And, my moon and my Jupiter is in the 8th house of Leo. And I realized like, okay, this is the shared resources, right? Like, so like me and my wife, the houses that we share, the radiant energy, the generosity, these are the things that she's sharing, like as my 8th house partner. And it was very powerful to just feel supported in this way, right? When I look at, now it's like, in a way, like allow myself to be resourced, okay? In a way that allows me to focus on my shamanic mission because, last night, like I said it, I was like, man, like, sometimes I don't feel like the work that I'm doing is really reaching the hearts of the people. I feel like the work that I'm doing is not really reaching the hearts of the people. And I'm like, I can't find myself doing some 40-hour job, some 50-hour job, some soulless, lifeless work. And I'm saying that with no judgment on you, whoever you are watching. I just can't see myself doing it because of how much it would take from my mission, what I'm sharing, what I'm speaking on, what I have been speaking on for 10 plus years online and so much longer offline. I can't see myself doing it different. And I imagine that life is actually saying, no, there is a way to do it different, but it's trying to open me up. It's trying to crack me open so that I can see what is that different way. But here's the thing, right? Part of it was realizing, like, from my own past life scenarios and conditionings, the traumas faced, the healing required, and pretty much on my front doorstep when it comes to embracing what it means to receive, needing to lean on somebody, not necessarily permanently, but understanding that this is a big mission. It's a long-term legacy build where today is today, but it's not the next 10 years, right? What you're going through now, what I am going through now, this too shall pass. And this is something that reminded me, like, she reminded me last night. It's like, you know, I've never seen you not get back up. Like, you know, getting knocked down and then getting beat down while being knocked down. I've always got back up. 2020 on screen, or 2-2. You know, no matter how bad the situations of life have been, and have been in worse situations, my experiences have shown, my past experience have shown, yo, I've always got back up. It's been so much worse. However, also to make space and presence for right now, it's still right now. It is a difficult time. So embracing that as well. So when I look at it, it's one of these things where I had to learn and accept where has hyper independence become my shield, you know, to the point where, you know, hiding the shame itself of needing support is actually disabling me. It's disempowering me rather than throwing it out there 4-4 on screen on the forefront. And so when I look at this month, okay, we have September 7th coming. We're what, 5 days away from the Pisces Eclipse? Well, trust me, I'm talking about it right now. You hear what I'm saying. It's very real right now. It's very alive, okay? So there's something for us to understand with the Pisces Eclipse. And I had to look at like where my solar return chart is, and I have like 4 planets, like freaking Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and like another one, all like 1 degree away from the Pisces Eclipse. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely getting cracked open. There's a tremendous mysterious transformation going on that we're all going through, no doubt. But this is just me from my personal story, or like what it means for me to go through. And I realized I'm at the point where this eclipse is telling me very clearly on the closing lunar eclipse that I cannot do this alone. Step 1, period. I can't do it alone. Step 2, that the work that I do, it truly matters. Okay, it matters so much where like I can't give it away to some draining life work, which is not life work at all, but just some draining work looking to trap my soul. Like I just can't do it. My mission matters too much, and it's about Pisces having the faith and the vision and the imagination and the trust that because this work is so important, I believe in it so much through the depths of my soul. Like, doesn't matter who I witness or see it reaching or touching, I know deep down when I move beyond the emotional moment that, yo, it's touching people in the way that it needs to. And in the timing that it needs to. It may not be the timing that my own mental framework and logic and conditions wants to accept as divine timing or real world timing, but it is hitting in a timeless way, and it's just remembering and coming back to that. Now, separate from that, it's also this reminder that, like I said, you know, Spirit's timeline is not what the world's demand is in alignment with. And so it's kind of what I just explained to you right there. So let's look and walk through you hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. If you're brand new and you're rocking with this message so far, subscribe. I'm going to get into the transits itself. And as I do remind you that we do have our tribe. It is $33 a month for the Shaman's Roundtable. And can you see what's here? And, you know, we do practice Qigong. We do practice Tai Chi. Right now we're in water messages, focusing on psychic abilities of water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And we're practicing these things. So if there's something interesting to you, come join us for the accountability. Ayurveda is something that has, when I took a trip recently to the States where I spent my rent money to take a trip because I felt divinely called to go visit my family. Like I didn't see my father in the last 3 years, and I was like, you know, it's time to go see your dad, like go. So there's a one-on-one session that it does exist. And like I said, for the whole month of September, there is a discount for $170. I think it's ridiculous, but it felt right because every day I saw a 99. I saw a 99, 999, 999, and I'm in a 9-year. We are in a 9-year for 2025. I'm in a 9-year personally. And I was there and I saw a 9999, 9999. So I was like, you know, I'm going to make this 99 because I saw how I can help so many with Ayurveda, and I want to. And I'm so passionate about it, with everybody trying to eat healthy, live healthy, be healthy, but just doing things where these little tweaks, like if they only knew. So for the whole month in Virgo season, which is the signal and the sign of health, this eclipse, solar new moon eclipse in Virgo, health, mental health, physical health, emotional health, psychological, and etc., I can help. So it's literally going to be $99 for the whole month of September. The code is I heal me. Somebody type that in the chat for me. You see that? I heal me. Heal like angels healing me. Me, M-E, I heal me. That is the code discount word to get that, because otherwise, I don't know what you see here. I think it's like $269, so you need to put that code in to get it for $99. Otherwise, it's $269. All right. And then remember, we have the Alchemical Circle of AI, which is actually starting on September 20th. You can't see that. The early bird has already passed, but for those of you, we're taking in 5 shamans, 5 oracles, 5 mystics who really want to use artificial intelligence with integrity, with moral righteousness, and manifest and create your business. You know, again, like I said, I have been doing this for 10 plus years. I did very much admit to you that like it's a challenging point of the entrepreneur journey, but I can help walk you through those challenges and also help you understand how have I been using artificial intelligence to help me as an entrepreneur to have those teammates that essentially I can help you understand how to create a team for free, like literally to build your business, to construct the ideas and get those things out there. Okay, so let's move in now to the September horoscopes. This is the shamanic portal of ancestral shadow work, and we're going to talk about some of the shadow work following up. So step 1, we have you hitting the thumbs up and the likes button and me drinking some water. I heal me. Thank you. I appreciate you. So that's the discount code for the Ayurveda. Okay, $99. I'll help you understand your energetic doshas, your energy system. You're in a 1 year? God, I can't wait to get to my 1 year. I'm like, yo, after all this 9 year stuff, I'm like 3 more months, get me to my 1 year. I'm like, finish this 9, man. I'm finished this 9. Let me see this, finish the 9. So let me know how your 1 year has been gone so far, because you're about, what, 6 months into your 1 year? Let me know. Has your 1 year been easier than your 9 year? Give me some hope. I feel like even if it hasn't been, just tell me yes it has, okay? But no, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. I want the truth. Don't give me no artificial. So I'm gonna officially timestamp this as step 1. September 1st, we had our Pisces return, okay, into Saturn. So what does that look like? Is it possible to zoom into this? I guess not. So Saturn in Aries has officially turned back to Saturn in Pisces. And obviously this is very karmic, yeah? Because Pisces is finishing a 12-year cycle. Saturn spends 12 years, about a year and a half, I think, in a zodiac sign. It takes 12 years to do a full revolution between all 12 zodiacs. I'm pretty positive. No, that's not true. It's 29 years because your Saturn return is 29 years. How about I say that doesn't sound right? I think it's like a year and a half in each zodiac sign. So 29 years. So 29 years we are finishing a 29-year cycle. I'm only in my 30s. I'm gonna leave it right there. Like I'm in my 30s. We're going to leave it right there. I'm in my 30s. And so that's basically like the majority of my life. I don't know who was watching in here, but it's the majority of my life. Maybe it's the majority of yours as well. So it is very karmic, right? Like it's gonna finish up its last stint, and I think when it leaves Pisces this time, it's done. So this month is Return to Pisces. It's reminding us that the old programs, the old ways that we've accepted lack, the old programs, the old ways that we've accepted sacrifices, the old ways, the old programs that we've accepted the sacrificing of our boundaries in particular and more specifically, being rewritten, is being literally dissolved, not even rewritten, it's more so dripping like paint off of a canvas. Like it's just completely melting like a marshmallow under a fire, like it's disintegrating, like you're no longer going to eat that marshmallow, it's gone. And for me, you know, again, like I said, this is about ending a 14-year cycle of really manufacturing the acceptance of abundance. And it's like, whoa, me even saying that out loud, like, wow, I've manufactured the acceptance of abundance. And it's like, yes, because as this challenge that I said I'm going through currently right now, this emotional and mental breakdown, but that was a breakthrough, is really showing me exactly that man, like if it's this hard to receive when I know I give so much, then yeah, I manufacture the acceptance of abundance. And admitting that, I think, is really the first huge step. So Saturn and Pisces, reality coming to, okay, abundance. Pisces is abundance. Pisces is the most abundant sign. But it's also where we can manufacture things. We can manifest things that are not solid enough, where Saturn says, look, if it's not working, it ain't working. So that's September 1st. That's yesterday. It's literally officially back in Pisces. And we'll be there for a few months. So, you know, I would say hold on, but Pisces is not about that. It's about have faith, about trust that what you're building, trust that your imagination, trust that the shamanic portal that you're in, that your shadow work, that the mysteries that are being realized are critically important to building something that's going to begin a brand new 29-year cycle. Now, step 2, September 2nd, which is today, it's right now. Let me see what you said. For me, it's been hard. I'm learning to surrender and be myself. Okay, cool, thank you. There's zone difficulty of difficult, right? Okay, so today, Mercury moved now into Virgo. So after a retrograde in Leo, the confusion when it comes to what are we creating, our love life, our sexual relationships, our entrepreneurial journey, which is literally what I'm talking about right now, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur and I'm like, oh snap, like this is like 10 years later and like I'm in a position where I'm like, yo, what's happening? And life is like, yeah, you're at the end of a cycle and like things ain't working the way they used to. So you need to figure out how to accept, keyword, these new forms of abundance. That's the key. That's critical. So now Virgo is where Mercury comes home. She's here to clear the noise. She's here to organize the mess. Okay, she's here to bring clarity and stability to the chaos that's in our lives, which means that we're going to have to embrace the chaos of the mind socially, which are reflecting our projections, and psychologically as well as physically within our body. How do we handle our symptoms and avoid the source of the issue? So Mercury and Virgo is asking us to speak with truth, asking us to speak with precision. Like I said, for me, it's asking me, how do I refine my own voice? Key word here, the throat chakra, as a shaman. How do I help others not just to eat healthy, but also to live well with the entire systems of Ayurveda? Okay, how to live well with the lifestyle breakdowns, aka our sexual creations and intimacy, with our projects, with what we birth into the world that requires nourishment and nurturing, the day-to-day trials and errors of a relationship, which is complex. Being in love is one thing. Maintaining the spontaneity, the emotional and physical intimacy, the creative and sexual chemistry, the integrity, the day-to-day ins and outs of a relationship. This is where we get made or broken. It's not in Libra, it's in Virgo. Anyone that does not survive Virgo in a relationship, which is every day, like you live with your partner, that's every day. You're married, that's every day. You want to get married, guess what? You have to prepare to be with your enemy, which is your wife, which is your husband, or your lover, every day. And they're your enemy not because they're trying to attack you. They're your enemy because they help you rise in love. Okay? You don't fall in love. That's not the challenge in your relationship. You rise in love. And when we rise, we meet challenges that kept us down so that we can surpass them. And Mercury in Virgo will help you become consciously aware for the next 2 weeks of our enemies, which is the people we deal with every day, which can be your coworkers, which we already know Virgos represents coworkers. But essentially, it's any nuisance you have to deal with every day. and essentially transforming and transfiguring that nuisance, that annoyance, that difficulty, that enemy, whether it's a habit, a substance, a person or not, into an asset. And that's what Virgo is here to do. Virgo transforms those enemies within us into assets, into support, into help. That's what Virgo does. That's why things are harmonious by the time it gets to Libra. So this is Mercury and Virgo, which is starting for the next 2 weeks. Do check out my newsletter. You'll get more insight on this. It's posted. It's in my YouTube post. And you'll be able to see that. Or you could join my newsletter and it'll be easier and you'll get the notification because it came out days ago. So that's that. And I remind you again, because part of my mission is to help you nourish your soul through Ayurveda, I'm offering this. Like I said, this is $269, but you have a discount right now that's $99. And it's in the chat. It says, I heal me. So when you go, you look at the service, type I heal me. And I'm giving out these Ayurveda consultations. I do remind you as well, September 20th, because it is on the way. This is something a little more in-depth. This is a 5-week program, the Alchemical Circle of AI, taking the shamans, mystics, oracles, and more. Actually, hit the thumbs up and likes button, where we will be learning how to not just use AI, but go through the 5 elements of earth, air, water, ether, etc., fire. And each week you will be learning how to put your magic into real life practice. So September 6th, we now have, I smell something good. We now have Uranus retrograde in Gemini, okay? So the retrograde in Gemini, peace, peace, beautiful souls. What's up, baby? Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Now we have September 6th, which is Uranus in Gemini. This is where we rewire how, keyword, we listen, how we communicate, how we share information within society, not like a sheep, but as a wolf. And Uranus is here to shake up the nervous system. It's here to wake us up. It's here to bring in the high consciousness. What would you do if you were a voice in society that had true and legitimate power? All-Father type power. The Father of time itself level power. Power that comes with the consciousness of a God, which you are. This is Uranus in Gemini in retrograde. And when I look at it, for me, I think about my natal Uranus in Gemini is in the 2nd, 3rd house. And for me, it compels me to share my struggles publicly in this moment. Share how my irreverent path irrevocably is here to inspire unconventional ways to obtain and accumulate wealth, which does take some dips, right? Like, it does hit some ways because, again, like I said, my Uranus is on the 2nd house and I got hit with one of these shockwaves of, oh, is this really working? Is it working? Is this what we're receiving? But also the 3rd house element of share these ideas that people don't really talk about. I feel like not a lot of people talk about when they're in financial struggle. Everybody wants to always appear to be on the up and up. Everybody wants to appear to be like they balling or like everything's cool and dandy. And I'm looking at it and it's like me sharing like it'll look like. At the moment, that ain't the truth. At the moment, that ain't the truth. But it's also a sky consciousness knowing Uranus in Gemini retrograde will give us this new communication with ourselves that, yeah, but this too shall pass. Like, I understand this won't be forever. Because again, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 plus years. Like, it ain't always like this. And things will change. And that's what Gemini always does. Gemini changes. It also splits our thoughts and our neural patterns so that we can invite what is aligned today. So this rewiring is happening starting September 6th. Keep that date in mind, okay? And for me, like I said, it's here to share my struggles publicly, not necessarily from a place of weakness, but from a vulnerable strength, okay? Now we have the big one, right? Which is the next day. And the next day we have the lunar eclipse in Pisces, Okay, Pisces Lunar Eclipse. I have a full video all on the lunar eclipse in Pisces. So there's something that you can focus on there. I see somebody saying that it's time to focus on internal, because Pisces is what? Pisces is the deepest internal energy, the internal energy of mystery itself. It is a sign of the unknown, the deep void. It is a vow to surrender. Okay? And this is right here. We're 5 days away from the lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's a closing. Lunar eclipse, full moons, close. It's a spiritual contract that's closing. Okay? Like I said, this spiritual contract that is closing is more than 29 years. There's 2 spiritual contracts closing. One is a 14-year contract. One is a 29-year contract. Saturn in Pisces, it's a 29-year contract. And then Neptune in Pisces, which we will eventually go back into, okay, when retrograde occurs, is a 14-year contract. So 14 years is literally the half point of the 29. So guess what? Like, we're going to be meeting alternate versions of ourselves, looking to create peace, looking to create harmony, but we'll do so through a trickster's journey. So stay faithful, stay trusting. Do your best to accept that Pisces will deal with the lows of lows. It will deal with emotional turmoil and turbulence. Pisces is a very depressive sign, while also being a very enlightened and light sign. If you only try to embrace one, you will deny spirit and reality. And when we deny that both exist, that's when you're in trouble. That's when the delusions hit, and that's when Saturn in Pisces will really jack us up. So this is the eclipse, okay, September 7th. It is a release, not just of the spiritual contacts and closings, but a release of the subconscious programming that has kept us bound. And like I said, but in a different way, for me, it's saying goodbye literally to the belief that my own worth, okay, is measured by how much that I can carry alone. So as an Aries, okay, the one who goes alone, as a progressed Sagittarius rising, okay, Sagittarius rising goes alone, and I'm a triple Aries, right? Sun, Moon, Mercury. Hyper independence has become my crutch. And this Pisces eclipse had me crying yesterday. And I'm thankful and grateful to be able to say that, because I know, like, when I release tears, like, I'm releasing lies. I'm embracing truth. I'm seeing with real eyes the real lies that can and do real lies in this moment. The truth of resilience and integrity and faith, and the importance of maintaining that during this eclipse in Pisces. So that's September 7th. And then next we have September 12th. Okay. September 12th is a Mars opposite Neptune transit. Okay, so this is going to be a big one, right? So Mars in Libra, Neptune in Aries. Hit the thumbs up and a likes button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe if you're brand new. This is the illusion buster, okay? Mars wants to crack that stuff up, especially in Libra, which is a very intellectual sign of purity and clarity. The sign of the kidneys, which purifies water. Water, which can be muddy, it can be cloudy, it can be foggy. Like I said, when I cracked my recent egg, it literally came out black inside. I'm like, bro, if that's not a sign, I ain't never in my life cracked an egg that was black inside. It was black and cloudy white. What the? And it was very clear. It was like, you cannot build these new creations, these new potentials, off of a moldy, foul, old, outdated substance. It's not going to work. Life is looking out for me. Life said, we got better for you. But stop being hard-headed, stop being stubborn, and focus on learning how to receive. Not from a manufactured sense of abundance, but from the true abundance that wants to come to me. So this is the illusion buster on September 12th. And it's asking, as we do our shadow work here, are we acting from inspiration which is being willing to sit in stillness, be bored. And I've been doing this every day for at least 15 minutes, like 2 to 3 times a day. It's just been sitting, no phone, no TV, no walking, no breath work, okay, no qigong, no healthy, no writing, no shadow prompting, nothing, just boredom on purpose. And through that, it's the hermit, where I know that when I get ideas from that space of boredom, that there are ideas that are more inspired, motivating, and clear, versus through subconscious programming, which a lot of times happens through us being busy. So we have to be careful and watch for that, especially with Uranus and Gemini, which we talked about happening on September 6th, that likes to be busy through all of the nerves and chaotic energy, okay? So this is the Illusion Buster on September 12th on Mars opposite Neptune. For me, like I said, it's actually catching the inner child who fears the rejection, all right? Recognizing and noticing my own inner child who fears being rejected, recognizing and energizing, this inner child in a way where I can respect that there are parts of my own inner child that feels unseen. And the work and my shamanic mission to share the stories that I feel matter when they do, and to stay in integrity, not do things for the likes, not do things for the subscribers, not do things for the appearance of increase, but rather what feels true to my own heart, feels aligned to my own soul, that the collective needs to hear. And just trust and have faith that the right people will listen. They will receive the message. But also to respect, that there is an inner child fear of mine that feels unseen, who hustles, but hustles without clarity. And so when I find myself going through financial fears, for example, an older version of me used to just work harder, work faster, do more. And this hustling from a lack of clarity. Mars opposite Neptune is that buster of illusions. And then we have what's going to help the purity of it all and harmonize our mind after Mercury in Virgo does her dirt starting today, September 2nd, Mercury Virgo. We're going to then go to Mercury in Libra. And when Mercury enters Libra, it's from refinement to purification. Virgo refines, Libra purifies. And Libra will purify a brand new path, one where communication balances rather than criticizes. So we have to watch for the criticism. And I talked to myself today about, where do I criticize people? Where do I criticize my father? Where do I criticize my mother? Where do I criticize my wife? Where do I criticize my neighbor? Okay, these are the areas that I'm looking to refine within myself. They ain't got nothing to do with any of the people I named. These are the areas that I'm judging, that I deem unworthy or unlikable or unlovable within myself. And boom, we're gonna move from the place of refinement, okay, where that criticism is trying to bring us out of balance, and Mercury and Libra will instead help us step into balance. And this will only get heightened when we move into September 19th, the next day, where Venus moves into Libra, where it's in his domicile. And here, her grace will offer us, okay, more beauty in our life, to see beauty within the chaos, to see beauty within the criticism, to see beauty within other people who we once judged while we were in Virgo. All right, Venus in Libra on September 19th will bring in the forgiveness, which will allow us to soften our edges of everything I spoke, which was difficult for me to say and process earlier in this message. Venus in Libra will also be a chance to bring back the sweetness into our lives, the sweetness into our partnerships, the sweetness within our relationship with our clients, okay? Within the therapies that we're receiving, whether that's through artificial intelligence, whether that's through an online mentor, whether that's through a therapist in the workspace setting, whatever it is, whether that's dealings with your HR department at work, our partnerships will bring a certain sense of softness and of the rough edges. And it's exactly what I said. Like when I said my wife, she modeled for me recently, you know, when she offered to literally hold me through this difficult time. And right before I got on this live, she sent a text, said, you know, you are safe, go create. And I'm like, wow. So then we have September 21st, the solar eclipse in Virgo, which is the great cleanser, the great refinement. Okay, it's a new moon. Solar eclipses are new moon, and this eclipse is asking us to recognize what poisons us. It asks us to recognize where we are distracted. It's asking us to, as I look back to the left, I heard a noise. It's asking us to recognize, you know, what relationships are keeping us from living a great life. What am I hearing? What is that? There's an energy in this space. Something on the left ear, feminine ear, asking us to receive. Okay. And again, Virgo is a sign of the harvest, okay, where we collect gains. So I would expect from that into 6 months later, some magical things to happen. Yes, it is a very special love. Hey, Miranda, how you doing? Good to see you in here. And so, you know, what keeps us from living well? And so again, after my trip to the United States, you know, Ayurveda really came alive for me. Where I've already been doing this for years, and I'm doing it within our membership. I've done it for people here and there, but I never put a focus on it. And I feel like it's really this new manifestation that's like, look, we want to come to the forefront because the Western world can really benefit from Ayurvedic wisdom. And I really want to teach this stuff. So after my trip to the US, I saw firsthand how many people mixing healthy foods, healthy choices, healthy lifestyles, but in a way that's still harming them. And it's like, we're wondering, why am I in the hospital? We're wondering, like, why am I sick? We're wondering, like, why do I need this medicine when I'm eating healthy? And it's like, dang, because it's not that simple. Like even healthy foods can harm you in the wrong dosage, in the wrong combinations. And there's even healthy lifestyle choices like walking. You can go for a run at the wrong time. That creates more stress. You can go to the gym and it creates more stress. Where it's like, it's a healthy thing to do, but the timing could be off. Your energetic system could require something different in that moment. And I feel like I really want to help people through this because it's so innate to me, especially as an exercise physiologist studying in university prior, combining that wisdom I've learned in Asia, the medicine I've learned down in Colombia and South America. It's like, I really want to bring this to the forefront. And so, you know, for this new moon, you know, this eclipse in Virgo on the 21st of September, Virgo's whispering, refine. Virgo's whispering, detox. Virgo's whispering, simplify. So I want you to type that in the chat. Refine, detox, simplify. Refine, detox, simplify. 222 time. I keep seeing it today. 222 means you're on track, baby. And what do I have here? The last transit I have for you here is September 22nd. It's the last one I talk for today. Where Mars enters Scorpio and the Sun enters Libra, okay, on the same day. And so this is where power gets restored. Anything you felt you lost, hit the thumbs up and the likes button. I appreciate you very much. Mars and Scorpio will empower the creative force that has been held back, that's been, you know, previously feeling like it's been a position of disempowerment where Mars is in Libra. Thank you. Refine, detox, simplify. That's what Virgo eclipse wants for us on the 21st. The sacral chakra will experience a tremendous explosion of freedom. Hear me out when I say this. Your sexual energy, your sexual relationships, your sexual creations, what you make, whether that's through orgasm, whether that's through just art, whether that's through a brand new project, an entrepreneurial endeavor, this will go through a brand new, what the F, wow, how did I do that? It will go through a tremendous freedom as well as a deep, deep, deep transformation, okay? And it tells us, right, that if you want change, you must act. Scorpio is about that action. It tells us that Libra Sun is here to remind us to act, but to act in balance, okay? Not to act in chaos. And that's what we're going to need to really understand and pay very close attention to. So, with that said, this is really the end of the message. I do have some shadow work and a psychology thread and reminder for everybody here. I'm going to drop that. Check my post afterwards. I'm not going to do it today because I got to keep this video under an hour for creative purposes. Stuff that I'm talking about actually in the Alchemical Circle of AI. So there are certain things and tools that can help you use. One of the reasons why I got to keep this video under 60 minutes. For the Alchemical Circle of AI, this is going to start with taking in 5 shamans, 5 mystics, 5 oracles who want to use artificial intelligence to run their business, okay, their entrepreneurial endeavors, and create a whole team. We'll teach you how to make a whole team through the elements of fire, air, earth, ether, water. And that starts September 20th. And so, like I said, it's a really good time for you to go ahead, get in there, because right now, no one's in there. So that means that if you're one person in there, you're getting one-on-one attention for a program that's meant for 5 people. Guess what? That's going to give you a tremendous boost in your own personal business. So go ahead and get in there. All right, September 20th is day 1. Email me, send me a WhatsApp message if you want to know more about that. You want to get a little deeper. How you're going to use AI and the 5 elements, looking to merge, okay, the shamanic wisdom with the future of artificial intelligence. Again, I Heal Me, that's the discount code for this one-on-one Ayurveda session. It is normally $269, but it's going to be $99. But the key word is I Heal Me. So do check and remember that. We do meet our membership, only $30 a month, the Shaman's Roundtable, where we do learn and practice Tai Chi, Qigong. We're going to tie it to the element of water this week. We're doing psychic abilities on Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We're practicing these live activations. So we're not doing intellectual wisdom. You get that stuff ahead of time. When we meet in the call, we practice the psychic abilities. And this is something that brings me a lot of joy. This is your September horoscopes for the major transits and dates that I have listed. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. Type I Heal Me. Yes, I already felt the call to do a cleanse and release the ceremony. And let go for the equinox. This literally starts equinox. September 20th is when the Alchemical AI starts. It's on the equinox. And I've been carrying too much. Yeah. Oh, damn, Miranda, as I said that, you hear my voice like, yeah, yeah. As I said, yeah, I literally was getting ready to say, email me. Send me an email. I literally felt like that. Send me an email. And I got, yeah, as I said that. So, you know, whatever that is, I recently went through, this is why I did a throat chakra meditation, which is what actually activated a lot of the recent tears that I've gone through. It activated a lot of the things that I did not say that went left unsaid, the things that were going to help me to balance out my throat chakra. So I can't lie, like I recently went through this myself. So, you know, for the closing inspiration, you know, this September is not just astrology, right? Like it's us, it's our shadows, it's our stories that we carry. Okay. For me, it's the humility of saying like, look, I needed help. Like coming into that, like I needed help. I can't do this alone, right? The mission is way too big. It's the detox of the illusions. It's me stepping into a new way of receiving abundance itself. And if you felt afraid to ask for help, like, you know, hear the whole beginning of this message where I just took a moment to be vulnerable. If you felt afraid to trust, okay, if you felt afraid to lean in, if you felt afraid, understand that. I just admitted it very clear on this public stage today that you're not alone, okay? This month is a mirror. This month we are together, okay? This month is the month that we actually rise, we improve, which is Virgo is about. So I thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. September 20th is day 1 of the fall equinox that we're taking in 5 shamans, 5 mystics, 5 oracles. Membership is starting again this Sunday. Not starting again, but this is our next meeting this Sunday. And again, I Heal Me. If you're looking to take your dietary needs, your lifestyle, your exercise, you understand your energetic doshas. These are just certain Ayurveda words that you'll understand. It changed my life. It helped me change a lot of other people's lives. And this is, again, just a passion of mine. It's $99. That's the cheapest that's ever going to be, quite frankly. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Send me an email if you're interested in joining us for the September 20th when we take it in 5. I want to say I love you. I will see you soon.